Hi everybody, this is Scott Sharp with Fretboard Toolbox, and today we're going to look at the 6 most common scales you run into. The major scale, the major pentatonic, the natural minor scale, the minor pentatonic, the blues scale, and blues with a flatted fifth. And I'll show you how to find those all up and down your fretboard in all the different keys with the Fretboard Toolbox Complete Guitar Edition. Let's take a look and I'll show you how it works. Today we're using a Fretboard Toolbox Complete Guitar interactive ebook. And if you scroll down to the table of contents, you'll see there's a whole bunch of major keys, blues keys, and then what's called natural minor keys or relative minor keys. And so let's start with the key. Here's all the different keys you can see. Let's start with the key of G major, and I'll show you how it works. This part I call the chord jig, and there's lots of important things up here, but I've explained them in other videos, and today we just want to get to the cool stuff. These chord progressions, these ones over here you can use with the major scales. This one you can use with the minor, the relative minor scales or minor pentatonic. And here's the fretboard layout. And so if I want to play, well, first you want to see all the notes in white boxes are your major scale notes. So G major scale, all in white boxes. And so if I want to play from this G to this G note, I can start on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and it would look like this. So that's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp G. And then if I want to go from this G to this G, I can play G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp G. And that looks like this. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp G. And the cool thing about being able to see where all these notes are laid out is you can start moving around with those scales and kind of see how you can get around on the fretboard. So let's try that just a little bit. So that's just moving around with the G major scale. Now you'll hear people talk about major pentatonic scales, and the G major pentatonic scale is all the underlined notes. So that's G, A, B, skip the C, D, E, skip the F sharp, and then back to G. So that's all the pentatonic scale is it's the major scale, and you leave what's called the 4th note out, and you leave the 7th note out. So to play from G to G here, just the pentatonic notes, I could play G, A, B, D, E, G, and that would look like this. Then if I continue it, G, A, B, D, E, G. So it's fun when you can see where all those notes are laid out, because you start building those scale shapes in your mind and you start building that muscle memory, and some cool things start to happen. So major scale notes in white boxes, major pentatonic notes underlined. Then if we click on the page numbers on the interactive edition, it'll take you back to the table of contents. So let's look at the minor scales now. We'll click on the E minor pentatonic. These chord progressions will sound cool with the minor stuff, natural minor and minor pentatonic. And now I'm going to use the exact same fretboard layout, but instead of treating G as my root, okay, the major root is G, the relative minor root is E. So now I want to play from E to E using all the white boxes. And if I do that, then I'm playing the E natural minor scale. So if I wanted to go from this E to this E, I can play E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. And listen to how minor scales have a darker sound. So if I want to play the E natural minor from this E up to this E, I can play E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. Let's try that. Here's this E. I can continue up. So that's the E natural minor. It's all the notes in white boxes. And then the E minor pentatonic notes is the exact same notes as the G major pentatonic notes. So G major and E minor use the pentatonic scales use the exact same notes. It just changed the note that you treat as your root changes. So now I want to play from E to E using only the E minor pentatonic. So I can go E, skip the F sharp, G, A, B, skip the C, D, and then back to E. Or to go from E to E with the minor pentatonic, I can go E, G, A, B, D, E. That could be like this. Then if I continue up, and I can see those natural minor and minor pentatonic notes all up and down the fretboard. And so if I wanted to do the same thing with the key of C, I can just click on the key of C, cool chord progressions in C major and A natural minor, or A minor. And then I can treat all the notes in white boxes as the C major scales. I can take all the notes in white boxes as the A natural minor. If I want the pentatonic notes from either scale, they'll be the underline notes, and you can start playing around with those all up and down. So if you want, pause right here and just goof around with these notes. Play a C chord, an F, and a G to get the key of C in your mind. Okay, so that would be a chord progression like C, F, G, and then these notes will start to make more sense. All right, then let's look at the blues scales. If I want to play G blues scales, I click on here. Important stuff up here, but I'll cover it in other videos. These are cool chord progressions with this scale. And now what I'm going to have is all the notes that are in white boxes are going to be the G minor pentatonic, which is also one of the G blues scales. So now everything in white is a G minor pentatonic or G blues scale. And so let's play from this G to this G using just those white boxes notes. Here how it already has a darker sound. We can continue up. Okay, so now we've got all those, you can build all these scale shapes all up and down the fretboard and see them in any key. And then if you ever hear someone talking about a flatted fifth note, in the key of G, the 5 note's called a D, and the flatted 5 is a D flat. And you don't really have to know what that is if you want to just mess around with these, but just know that I put the flat 5 as an asterisk. So if you come down here, now we can start adding this note with an asterisk in and see what happens. And that's called the flat 5 again. So now I'm going to add that flat 5. This F's in play. Hopefully you could see all that there. So anyways, it's fun when you can start seeing where those scales are, because so many times you're taking lessons and people are like, all right, we're going to play the G minor pentatonic or G blues scale starting on the 3rd fret, and I couldn't picture it, which is why I built these books. And hopefully they'll help you see those things too. So another fun thing that you can do with the toolboxes is and you can see all these different keys, and then if you go to the Fretboard Toolbox website, you can go down to Tracks and Tab, and then click on 200 free jam tracks, and it's going to be me playing through all these different chord progressions at several different speeds each, and it'll tell you which Fretboard Toolbox pages to use. So anything on page 9 would work with these tracks from the complete edition, anything on page 10 will work with these tracks, and I've got the keys of G and A and C and D and E and F, and all the blues keys with those, and the relative minors too. And so then you can start really goofing around with some of those tracks and just see what happens when I start playing major pentatonic or major scales over these tracks, and start hearing where the different scales sound good, and build some of that muscle memory. So if you want to see how to get your own fretboard toolbox, you can just go to the toolbox website, pick your instrument. I got a whole bunch of different instruments here. Click on guitar. Today we weren't using this Essential Edition, we were using the Complete Edition. Okay, and so if you click on Look Inside, you'll get all the instructions plus the G major key pages we use today and the E natural minor and the G blues. And then you can play around with it and see if it's something you might find useful. And if you want to see the difference between the standard ebook, the interactive ebook, and the print, just scroll up to the top and compare the print and ebook formats. You can click there, or if you want to see the difference between Essential and Completes, you can click up here. So I hope you found something useful today, and I'll have lots more videos coming on lots more instruments. Thanks for taking a look.